Hi everyone, today I'm going to show you how to make this lovely envelope book I've used coloured envelopes here, but you can use white envelopes if you've got white envelopes around, and there are two different styles. One is the ordinary type of envelope, which most of you will be familiar with, and then this is a really lovely long envelope I found in one of the shops locally, quite thick paper, which is really good for making these. So first of all, I'm going to run through the different things that you need to make the books. You need a selection of envelopes. I've used different colours. Sometimes in, say, pound shops, you can pick up these lovely kind of printed envelopes with maybe flowers or a little motif in the corner. That can look really nice. Those are the more ordinary envelopes. And you'll need some card for the cover, a pair of scissors, a marker, a pencil, some stick type glue and a ruler. So the way that we start is with making the pages of the book. You'll need 10 pages. So I'm just going to take a selection of all the different colours. I think that's 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And one more. We'll go for the bright pink. Okay. You can decide which order you want to put them. I tend to mix them around a little bit, totally up to you. Where you put the colours. Okay. And then to start with, take your envelopes and bend back the flap so you have them all prepared. So you can see you've got the envelope with the flap here, and on this side with the opening here, and on this side the flap. So I'm going to build my book so that we're working always with the flap on this side and the envelope on this side. So that's my first page. I'm going to take the next one, and first I'm going to open that up a little bit with my hand, just make it a little bit easier. These are simple to do, but perhaps a little bit tricky when you're getting used to the technique. So pull off the gum part, open up this envelope and slip this inside so that the point of the first envelope matches with the crease of the next envelope. Press down and turn over, and you can see you've already got 2 pages. Take your next envelope, once again, open up this one. Just open it a little with your hands. It's just much easier if you open that first. Slip this inside. Press down. Sometimes when you're getting used to making something, things can go a little bit off in terms of positioning these, but it doesn't really matter that much. It doesn't have to be perfect. Once you've got them all together, even if they're a little bit skew with, once you put the cover on, it all comes together properly. If you don't do that part of the process where you open up the envelope first, I find as you're trying to feed the next envelope in, it starts to stick down before you're ready for it. So that's quite an important part of the process, is to just open up the envelope like that, just to make it a little bit easier for you to feed in the envelope. The nice thing about this is that even though sometimes it begins to stick a little bit, it doesn't stick very strongly. So if you need to reposition, it's quite easy to do that. So the gum side is facing downwards and meeting the envelope underneath. And there you have the pages of your book perfectly put together. Okay. On this side you have the envelope, on this side you have the front of the envelope, on this side you have the pocket. And what's nice about having the pockets is you can use them for slipping things in. You could put a little photograph with maybe a story about what the photograph's about, or memories about things, or you could just use something simple like receipts, holding receipts for different times of the month, whatever, could be really interesting. So, next thing we're going to do is work on the covers. You need 2 pieces of cardboard, same size, and they're cut slightly larger than your envelope. Obviously I pre-cut these. So you need some grey card, but any kind of card, or you could use the back of a cereal box or any kind of box packaging if it's got a little bit of strength to it. So just slightly, just a millimetre or 2 bigger than the size of the envelope. First thing we're going to do is attach the first envelope. Very simple. Pull off the last one of these and line it up so that it's on the crease of the envelope meets. If you sort of go a little bit over like that, that's probably better. Just a little bit in, just a tiny bit in, and then this one lies on top, and we're going to glue this using these Pritt Stick glues. So. When you put on the next envelope, line it up with the backing. Line it up with the front backing so that they're equal. Just do this. Just press it down so that you have them in the same position. And you have your cover attached. And it's going to be this way up. And the next thing we're going to do is to cover the grey card with some sort of coloured paper, coloured card. Now these books of cards, you can get them in most craft shops. They're really lovely papers, and they've got a nice bit of strength in them as well. They can be quite expensive, but sometimes if you shop around you'll see them come up for sale, and they'll be greatly reduced, and they can be really good value if you can pick them up. They're usually about €15 if you buy them brand new, but if you get them as seconds or ones that are slightly damaged, whatever, then you can get them for maybe about €4 or €5. So take your cover, the cover paper you've chosen. First thing we're going to do is to glue the front cover down. Obviously you need a piece of card that's bigger, somewhat bigger than the actual envelope. And you can see I've positioned it slightly further up, top and bottom. The reason for that is I'm going to trim it later on. So glue that down. Use it, leaving a little bit of a border around it. Then we're going to glue the back cover. Make sure you go right to the edges of this, so you get it nicely covered. You don't need loads and loads, but you don't want to be skimpy with the glue either. When you position your back cover, pull out the back cover a little bit so that you leave a small gap between the back cover and the front cover at both the top and the bottom. And the reason that we do that is that that's making space for a spine. And you need to have somewhere for the envelopes, the paper to fit around the envelope so that it's not stretched tight around the book. You can see that's glued down now. There's a small gap there, top and bottom. The next thing I'm going to do, this one's nice because it has the red covering, but this one obviously doesn't cover the whole back. So I'm going to cut a piece of paper to go there, just to cover. And usually I use a plain colour. Any colour at all can be nice. I used yellow for the first one, so perhaps the green would be nice. These papers, these plain papers or cards are really nice. They have one side which is textured and one side which is plain, and I think that's really nice to have the option of using a textured paper if you can. Just gives it a little bit of interest to your book. So I cut a piece like that, and I'm going to glue it down there just to cover that piece of grey card. And hold it down just for a little bit. This Pritt Stick glue is very good, but you do need to kind of hold it down for a while before it sets. And there are different makes of this, but I have found Pritt Stick to be the best. Some of the other makes can be a little bit lightweight, and they don't have as much strength as Pritt Stick does. So now we've got to the point where I'm going to trim off some of this card here. And I always keep back any bits I trim, because these papers are so lovely and quite expensive. You can always use your trimmings for making some kind of pattern on the cover, or for decorating something else, or for a bookmark. So it's nice not to just throw things away. I've trimmed that so that it's kind of more equal to this. Now we need to cut the paper so that it will fit around the cover. I'll do it with a pencil first so you can see. You go to the corner of the grey card and draw two lines like this, slightly at an angle. I'll show you again. Now you can do it with a ruler if you wish, but probably you'll be able to just figure it out by eye. These two little bits are important, where the binding is going to be. So one line comes like this, one line comes like this, and there's a little bit here. And the same here. One line comes like this, and one line comes like that. Okay. The next thing to do is to trim those using a nice sharp pair of scissors. And with these two, I just cut these two first, but I don't cut off that little bit until later. And I'll show you what I mean when we've glued it. Okay, the next part is to fold these over. Make sure you don't get any envelopes caught underneath. Sometimes people think that that's the last one, but it's not. So make sure you're on your last envelope. And fold these over. Use your fingers to press it nice and firmly against the cardboard before you start to glue. So you've got everything folded over. And same on this side. And then you stick them down. Now usually I do the two tops and bottoms, and then this one I do last. There's no rule about that. It looks nice if you do it equally on both sides though. Glue these. Once again, pay attention to getting the glue into the corners of the card. And you'll need to hold that down quite firmly with this part of your hand to make it stick, because the cards are quite heavy weight and they need a bit of pressure to glue down. Makes much more sense if you've actually done the folding before you do apply the glue. And you know it's ready to go. Okay, so that's that side, and then the same with this one. We go back to here. So I'm going to do the top and the bottom. Now you can see it's lifting up a bit there, so I'm going to need a bit more pressure to get that to really stick. Don't worry, it will stick. It just needs a bit of weight applied to it. This is why I recommend the Pritt Stick glue as opposed to the other ones, because, well, two reasons. One, because it's stronger, and also when you use the cheaper versions, which seem to be wetter as well, they can make the thinner papers buckle. It's just there because they're wetter. That's where we trim off the two last parts, like this and this. And you have your box now. Hold it down. Apply pressure to get the glue to stick, and it will only be you know, 30 seconds or so, but you do need to do this, otherwise it'll come apart. And there's your book, your envelope book. Obviously there's loads of options with different colours. This one also is very nice, this kind of geometric paper. It's a lighter weight paper, but it just works just as well. It's totally up to you. Yeah, so I know that people have been using these as memory books, where they write memories on here and slip a photograph inside, which is a really nice idea. Okay, thank you very much.